Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to the Queen Mimi Podcast on another edition of our Sunday Positivity Talk. Welcome in, Andrew. Hello, Marie. Welcome in, everybody. We hope everybody is doing good. Of course, staying safe, taking care of yourself, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We have an amazing jazz musician, entrepreneur, and I'll make sure I say this correctly, philanthropist. Hopefully I said that correctly. We're going to go ahead and bring him onto the stage, and he's going to play a little something for us by the end of the interview, so I can't wait to hear that. Rick Della Rata. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Queen Mimi. So nice to be here with you.
Same here, same here. So, like I said, we're going to get right into it. How did you get into jazz? Tell everybody who you are, where you're from. I'm gonna let you have the floor, what you do. I actually love listening to jazz, like with meditation music. I'll switch out. So tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you do, how you got into it, your whole backstory. Whole 9 yards.
Okay,
Let
will
you have the
do.
floor.
Well, I grew up in upstate New York. You guys where are you? Are you in near Chicago, maybe, or where are you guys located? But anyway, I know you guys are in the. I'm in the East Coast, so I grew up near Albany, New York, which is the capital of New York State, and I got into jazz because I basically I saw a bunch of records in a library, and I started taking them out of the library and listening to them. And at the time, I was studying piano, so I started listening to the jazz records, and then I started to realize that I had to include jazz in my studies as well as classical music that my teacher was showing me, and the music on the radio, which I really loved and I wanted to play as well. So I just kind of mixed it all together. And then I became a musician, performing all over the country and all over the world in different types of bands. And then my own records came out. And by 9/11, I had traveled all over the world. So I happened to be on the Lower East Side of Manhattan on that morning, and I saw the events from a rooftop, and I wrote a poem, and I called the poem Jazz for Peace. And I've basically been trying to live up to the words of the poem ever since that day, which has led me to do benefit concerts to help outstanding causes all over the world, and instrument donation programs in schools, and also educational programs as well, to have to show how music has a profoundly positive impact on people and children, and how it can help make our world a better place.
That's good. That is amazing. And I just wanted to piggyback off what you were saying, because music has had a big impact on my life too. Helped me
Great.
through some very dark days, and motivation, positivity, uplifting, and whatever. People like different genres, so that's all wonderful, and it's good that you were able. That's what I hope to do with mine, because I do spoken word. I think we talked about that already a couple weeks ago, and try to use that to motivate and help people feel better about themselves, and whatever their story is, whatever their background, the whole 9 yards. So that's beautiful. What made you get into helping children?
Well, I was a child myself, and I was profoundly positively impacted by the music I heard on the radio that my family used to listen to, my grandmother, my aunt, dancing around, listening to music. So I thought, if music could make people that joyful, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to be when I grew up. Maybe I wanted to be those people that are bringing all that joy to the world with their music. So that was my first thought. And then I started to realize that music had all kinds of other abilities to affect people. It can affect you in a thought provoking. It can, and it inspires your intellect. It has a spiritual effect on people, and it has a long history of helping people in profoundly positive ways. And that's what I wasn't sure. I know you're somewhere in the central U.S., but I wasn't sure. But I probably played in your hometown or your state or something like that, because Jazz for Peace is well, before Jazz for Peace, I traveled a lot. And then once I started Jazz for Peace, I basically traveled everywhere around the world. And of course, probably almost all of the United States.
Wow. I want to travel. I haven't had a chance to travel yet. What is that like? Being in different
Well, I
countries,
mean,
different cities?
well, there's two ways you can travel in the world. One is just because you want to go somewhere and see it. And honestly, I've
Right.
never really traveled that way. It was always my music taking me there. So,
Yeah.
um, when I was a kid, I used to play in people's bands. So, like, I would get a call from like a famous band in the 1950s called the Platters. And they were like, we're going to play, I'd never been to Bermuda, but they're like, we're going to play in some big hotel in Bermuda, so here's your plane ticket. So I had never been there, but I went there to play in Bermuda. We're going to be on a ship. So I went on a ship, a big band, we're going to be in a bus and we're going to travel all kinds of places. You'll find out when we get there. And I would just go along for the ride, and just do that. Then my own records came out, and I got calls from people. Hey, I'm in Brazil, and I love the way you play the piano. You play the piano like my favorite piano player, who was Bill Evans, one of the great jazz pianists. And then you sing like one of my favorite singers, who was Chet Baker. I want to bring you to Brazil, So I had never been to Brazil, but I went with my music. So I would have to say, if
Oh,
you can go somewhere with a purpose, I think that's the best way to travel. But, I think it's good to see other places however you can do it.
yeah. I
I
guess
mean,
that's
when
something.
you come to New
Yeah.
York, we got you. We got you covered. So however you get over here, we'll show you around.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the places I'm hoping to come to. I've only been to a couple cities, but it's just amazing how music, you don't plan it and you just wind up on this beautiful, great path, and I'm just listening to your journey. Like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. It's not necessarily about the money, and of course we want to get paid doing what we do as
Sure.
well, but it's the love for it is why I want to do it so much. So I'm just hearing that, like, I want to. Oh my God, I want to travel so bad.
Well,
It's gonna be amazing.
Jazz for Peace reacts to a lot of current events because we started out reacting to a current event. We started out reacting to 9/11 because I had watched it only a quarter mile away. And I wrote a poem called Jazz for Peace. So we started out, one of the first organizations that we helped was an organization that was assisting the families of the victims of 9/11. So that was one of the first ones. And then we just started to help outstanding causes of all shapes and sizes. But what you just brought up is important because there's a lot of people like you that love music or performing and have a talent and want to get out there and do it. And then there is a predatory music industry that a lot of you guys didn't really know about. And now I know it's blowing up all over the YouTube and all over the place. All of the perils of, the music industry. I don't know if you heard about that guy Ice Cube, who was on a podcast, and he just happened to mention that the same people that own the record labels own the prisons. Did you hear him say that? I don't know if you knew about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, come on, that's
I was
crazy.
shocked.
Yeah, so now it's a good thing for their business for you to end up in jail. Right? So, so Jazz for Peace has an artist grants program. And what we're hoping is that some of you guys are going to say, hey, I want to support my goal for music to really, spread my music and spread my joy and make a difference. I don't want to be a part of a predatory industry. And we've been waiting for you guys somebody to blow the lid off of it, because we've known
Yeah.
about it. We've known about it for a long, we're in the music industry. We've known about it for a long time, but finally it's coming out. And when you guys find out about it, you're the ones that can make a difference, because you can say, hey, I want to do a Jazz for Peace event. I want to help the community. I want to work with Jazz for Peace, rather than just walk down the street to the rap show that's going on, being presented by a label that might not be looking out for your best interests.
And not a lot of them are. I mean, we all know what's going on with Diddy right now. That's a perfect example, and we've heard other artists as well, unfortunately. And
Well, there
even
you
with
go.
I think the one that the kids are doing, I can't remember the guy's name. I think on Nickelodeon they're talking about him right now.
Right.
So I was about, I was going to try and take, now I'm like, no, I don't want to be, I'm a mother.
Right.
Whole point. I could never put my kids around somebody like that, and that's what this industry is. Whether you acting, musician, writing, whatever, they don't seek to really help you. They see you as a victim, I guess the word would be, and they turn into, like you said, predator, and they just exploit
Well,
you.
it's exploitive, and the reason it's exploitive is because their bottom line is profit. It's not, that's all they're looking for, and they
Yep.
get hooked on it. They get hooked on it like you get hooked on a drug, really. You can get hooked on anything, and money is one of them. And these people never get enough money. I'll tell you right now. No matter how much money you give them, they're still not happy because that's all they know, and they hoping that if they get $1 billion and then they find out they're not happy, they're hoping that another billion will make them happy, and then when they get to that billion. So the problem is, there's so much more you can do with music. And if you look at indigenous people, they've been using music to uplift people spiritually, to help them, to inspire them, to enlighten them, to empower them, to their intellect, you know what I mean, to stimulate their intellect. And that's the kind of thing that Jazz for Peace wants to do with children, with our education system. But also we want to get grown-ups to see that, the big picture. And that is, we have to use it for the common good, to help people better, and also to help the artists and protect them while they're out there trying to make it, trying to get somewhere,
Yeah.
and trying to reach audiences.
Yeah, we definitely completely agree with that. So that's why we decided to take that route. What route did you decide to take? Did you make connections with people? How did you keep yourself what's the word I want to use? Going down that path, if you will. To
Well, what happened with me was basically I didn't know any better, just like anybody else. So I was a paper boy. I had a paper route. I was throwing my paper at the front. I was riding a bike, taking a newspaper, crumpling up with no hands, and throwing it at a front door. Sometimes breaking the door. But
oh
anyway,
yeah,
uh,
no,
no. Sometimes I lose money on the paper route because I had to pay for the person's screen door. But anyway, it was the only way to
oh
have
man,
fun, was to ride the bike with no hands and throw the paper. At least I had a good time.
yeah,
And the thing was, yeah. So the thing was, I started playing music, and then the next thing I know, one thing starts leading to another. My homeroom teacher wanted me to play in the band. His sons were starting a band, and they were going to play at the school dances. So he wanted me to play in that band. Then there was a grown-ups that wanted me to play in their band because they needed a keyboard player. And they were going to sneak me in and out of the bars or whatever. And they promised my mother they'd pick me up and drive me home and make sure I didn't make sure I didn't drink too
yeah,
much and all that.
oh yeah.
And then my mother wanted me to play in the church because she was a church organist. So she put
Okay.
that on me. And now I had to give up the paper route. So that was it. That was the only other job I ever had, paper boy. So I've been a musician ever since. But I was just playing with this person, playing with that person, playing in this band, playing with that. I mean, I could play any kind of music, any style, and I would just play with whoever. And then there came to a point where I realized no one was ever going to really hear me play, because they were going to hear what I played behind somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they were never going to hear my music unless it was feet. So then I realized if I wanted someone to hear me sing, if I wanted to hear me play, and I wanted to hear my original music, I had to start recording my own music. So then I became my own, I had started having my own records and all that. And, all through it, I noticed all of the problems and the issues of the industry. But when 9/11 started, it changed for me because I kind of decoupled a little bit from all of that craziness, because now I'm realizing I can use my abilities and talent to help outstanding causes and help other people. So now I was so wrapped up with helping these outstanding causes that, I kind of didn't, I wasn't as, it wasn't as big an issue. I knew it was going on, and I knew it was probably even getting worse. But at the same time, I was trying to help all these outstanding causes. I mean, all over the world. I've been Jazz Beat's been to Africa 9 times alone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't even know what city you're in, but we played there. You know what I mean? Probably.
Chicago.
Well, there you go. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. In the back of my mind, that's what I was asking you. We've done a lot of events in Chicago. In fact, I've helped African people in Chicago. There's a community in your city called the Oromo. Have you ever heard of this? It's a African tribe. Check it out when you get a chance. They're called the Oromo, Oromo, I believe. And
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been.
My husband mentioned them once or twice. Yeah.
Did he knows who they are? Okay, so you
Yeah.
can ask. I've played concerts in Chicago, not even to help people in Chicago, but to help Oromo people in Africa through the Oromo people that live in Chicago. So that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I've
nice.
done a lot of stuff, but I've done a lot of other stuff. I mean, the first time I ever got a letter from Barack Obama, which I only got one letter from him, but it was in Chicago because I had done our 500th concert was in Chicago. And when I played that concert, he sent me a letter because he had been a senator in Chicago and that was his jurisdiction. And
Yeah.
he wanted to let us know how important our work is and also that we're helping an outstanding cause in Chicago. And that cause was a woman whose son had been murdered and she lost her son in a terrible situation and she became obsessed with the person who killed her son. And she studied that person, I mean obsessed, day and night, thinking about how could this person do that? Her conclusion was this is a person who had been deprived of arts and culture and he'd been turned into like an animal because he had been deprived. So she contacted us and said, hey, and so when we heard that, I mean, I really wanted to make sure I did all I could for because if you deprive children of the art and culture and music and song, you're not going to get a very good result.
No, I mean, and that's what we basically both talking about. Definitely our condolences to her and her son. I said I have to myself. I can't even imagine what that must be like. And
That
not
letter
getting
is
justice
online.
to anything like it's unfair.
Well, that's why I kind of told her, I said, listen, if we can land Barack Obama for your organization, we're going to do that because, if you're a politician, you're really a public servant and you're supposed to do things like that. You know what I mean? Respond to something in your jurisdiction and support something like what Jazz for Peace does. And that letter is online. If you go to jazzforpeace.org/Obama letter .pdf. I think it's a PDF and then put .pdf. You'll actually see the whole letter. And we get them from all over the world. All kinds of people.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Tell me about your new book. Where
Wow, I am
came out of
I'm so
Paving the
glad you
Path to Peace Through Music.
Yes. So that book is coming out. We finished the edits. There's a copy around here somewhere, but I don't see it right next to me. But anyway, it's basically it's an amazing new book. And one of the reasons it's so amazing is because there was a lot of delays, and every time there was a delay, something else would happen, and we would put something else in it. That book will give you an unbelievable story of Jazz for Peace that you can really feel and really be in it because it talks about all the different things we've done around the world. But there's little chapters like, if you want to know what Jazz for Peace did in Nepal, you can go to that chapter, or Africa, Rwanda, Pakistan, and just little stories. And it gives you a great overview. But it also talks about how we feel about the world today and what we feel like we can do to address our world's problems. It's an amazing book.
Will it be available?
It's coming out. The edits were finished yesterday. The author finished the last edits, and it's actually in the upload stage now. So it could be available within a week or so. On
Okay.
Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon. And I'm not sure. After that, it's going to go to other platforms and other, stores and all that kind of stuff. It's an
Yeah.
amazing book. Yeah, Paving the Path for Peace Through Music.
Okay. And what inspired you to write that?
Well, what I do, I was on a show once from a HR department because they wanted to know, like, how do you have volunteers and staff members that stay with you for so long? Because a lot of these companies have such a high turnover. People come in and they leave after a few months. And I told them, I said, I'll tell you, I'll just be honest with you. What I do is I try to take a person and see what they're passionate about and work within that thing that they're interested in rather than tell them what we need. So we grow. Jazz for Peace grows in a weird way because we might need something right now, but I don't have anybody who's passionate about that. And so I will not go forward with them if they're not passionate about it, because that's what's going to make them get frustrated and leave, because their heart's not in it, their soul's not in it. Like, you love this podcast, but if I told somebody else to do a podcast, they'd be done. They'd quit after a day. You know what I mean? You're
Yes.
passionate about it. That's the big difference. But then I could ask you to do what they're passionate about. Same thing. You know what I mean? That
Right.
you have to appeal to their passion. So what happened was, I've had people, when I started doing all these podcasts, the very first person who had me on his show, he had me on a show called American Authors and Others.
Okay.
And so I was like, and he told me, he said, I need to do 3 shows with you because I've been researching you and it's crazy. He says there's Rick Delarada, the musician. Then there's Rick, then there's Jazz for Peace. You know what I mean? There's these different things. So he had me do 3 shows with him. And I said, listen, why are you, doing all this with me? I don't even have a book. He said, you are going to have a book. Someday, you mark my words, you're going to have a book. And I've had other people say this, that, and the other. And somehow a situation came up and we had a volunteer who had written an article. She wrote one article and that article got 12,000 views. Wow. So I knew that she was inspired by the article. So I was talking to her and I was saying about these people that call about the book. And she kind of took this. She felt passionate. She said, "You know what? It really does need a book." And I could feel the passion from the person who, And so there you go. I was like, "Well, listen, if you want, we people are saying I need Jazz for Peace needs a book," and I think they're right. I think they're absolutely 100% right. If you have the passion in you to do, if this is something that really resonates, go for it. Because, like I said, you could ask someone who it doesn't resonate with and they're not going to go anywhere. Yeah. But if someone's passionate about something, so she took it's a shame because I don't even know. Can I get up and grab it quick? Is that okay on your show?
Yeah.
One second, I'm going to grab that book for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book. So there we go. I'm so glad you let me do that. It's called, I don't know. Yeah. There you can see it. So, Paving the Path for Peace Through Music. That's the author, Deborah R. Sertelli, and the amazing story of Rick Delarada and Jazz for Peace. And I'm telling you, this book, there was a lot of back and forth and everything. And right now I'm astounded because it even has this new stuff that we were talking about the music industry, because things kept happening during the delays. And I was like, oh man, something should be. And now all of a sudden you guys waking up, it's a big thing. If you guys just wake up with this news, what I need people to say, you know what, let's think twice about just walking down the street to a rap show or whatever it is, that we're going to just give our money for a ticket and they're going to, and that's going to be it. We'll never see that money again. And even that music might not even be all that great. Let's work with an organization that wants to help our community or something that we believe in or something that we, like I did in Chicago with those different organizations. Another one was a woman who was working with breast cancer. I mean, there's been a bunch of them, but when I went to Chicago as Jazz for Peace, again, I was helping this woman get this foundation off the ground that her son had died. So, that's affecting all the people in the community, her mission. Another time I went, it was a cancer related organization. I'm not going to be able to remember them all, but the other one I think I told you about was the Aromo community. and I went and I was making a difference for their community, you know, and their mission. So that's a much, you know, nobody, you know, that's a much bigger impact than you just show up and you pay this money and the show might not even be all that great. And then the music might not even be all that great. And then you never see that money again. And then you find out that, you know, all these crazy things have been going on behind the scenes with all that money they've been making.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so I want people to start really including, I want them to get that book so they can really see, hey, we need to work this into the program. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't care. I don't want you to not go see your, you know, this or that. I don't want to do it in place of, but in addition of, absolutely, we have to, because indigenous people have been doing it for centuries. And we
Yes.
only look at music, we only look at it as pure entertainment and selling products. You know, that's like only a small fraction of what music is. Music is this, and we're just doing this with it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Selling beer with it. You know, I mean, it's this big, not this big. And we have to look at the whole thing. And once we do look at the whole thing, we can say, hey, let's use music on this day to stimulate our children and inspire them, enlighten them. Let's use it for this. Let's use it for that. And then we'll start to heal, you know. It's kind of like if you take, you know, that story, they put the mice in a room and they put cocaine in the room and the mice kill themselves. But nobody ever told you, if you took the mice out of that room and you put them in a natural environment with all of the, you know, all the things, the trees and the leaves and all that, then they don't take the cocaine and kill themselves, actually. You see what I mean? Yeah. It's only when you take everything away from them that they do that. You put them in a jail cell. So that's what we're doing when we limit the scope of the arts and culture and music. We're putting, you know what I mean? We're removing things from the room, from the natural environment of children and grown-ups.
That could potentially harm them.
Absolutely, because if you take stuff away and you need that
Right.
stuff, now you're looking to other sources to, you know, to get that of what, you know, to fill that hole, you see? And that's another problem. Here's another problem. If all you're doing all day is sitting in a boardroom trying to make money, even though you already have enough of it, you're trying to make more money because that's all your brain is only like for profit. You know, I'm going to lose my job if I don't make another million. If that's all you're doing, then crazy thoughts are going to come into your head. Like, you know what? They'll buy more of these. They'll buy more of this product if they have less of that, which is vital to them. So now you're even thinking yourself, let's make things worse for them, so they'll need our product more.
Oh yeah, that's the ultimate goal.
Well, we have to rethink it. We have to rethink it, or else.
You have to treat people like human beings and not a dollar sign. You have to actually help them and not hurt them.
Well, it's hard to do when you have this corporate document that's governing your whole life. And by the way, that's the other problem. That corporate document is an invasive species. That's not even a real. That document was created to protect people. The document was created to protect people in the private sector. In other words, the corporate document was made to protect your church or a historical building from being co-opted by some private company to make a, you know what I mean? To make, So it was made to protect that. And what they did was they took the document and they brought it where it's not supposed to be, like bringing a cobra into the Everglades. You know what I mean? Yeah. They took the document and they brought it into the public sector where it was not meant for. And then they said, instead of using this to protect people, so their parks don't get, you know, buildings don't go up in the middle of their park, let's protect us from liability. Yep. So now they're using it to protect them. So they're using it for the wrong thing in the first place.
Completely agree. And that's been going on for years and years, and it really needs to change. It really
Well,
does.
it's reaching kind of the end of its rope where we've got to figure out something,
Yeah.
But see, that's why you see everyone shooting the messenger. They're people are getting scared. Oh, they're going to figure out that this is bad and they're going to take it away, and we're not going to be able to make all this money. Let's shoot that guy who's talking about it.
Yep.
What Jazz for Peace does is we incorporate things. So instead of a trickle down economy that's only trickling down and nothing's coming to you, we have a trickle up economy for philanthropy so that these people that get the money last but are doing good things can get the money first. So it's not destroying the trickle down economy, but that's the thing. If you shoot all the messengers, nobody's going to be speaking.
Well, someone always rises up. You can't silence everybody. That's one thing. Call me naive, that I do believe you can't silence everybody. Someone will be able to speak up eventually. It's going to take a lot of us.
It's gonna take a lot, but like I said, this book would really help if people read
Yeah.
and check out the book. I think they're gonna see that you can bring you can help outstanding causes in your community, and you can do it with world-class cultural event, and everybody can, the communities can benefit, the people can benefit. So the ways are out there. The ways are
Yeah.
out there. We just have to wake up to them.
Yeah, they are. And, however, I know I'm just one person, but I always offer, however I can help, or, got guys come back to Chicago again, you know where to find me. And
Well, you can help with your podcast. Just take this podcast and show it to some people in your community that, are affiliated with outstanding causes, and say, hey, this organization that you probably didn't hear about has been here already many times, and they come and help outstanding causes like yours. We help with funding, publicity and awareness, sponsors, new and prestigious supporters. It's called the Empowerment Tree. And hopefully they find it from your podcast. And what they would do after they watch your podcast and listen to the music is just send an email to info@jazzforpeace.org saying, hey, I watched Mimi's podcast. Can you really do that stuff? Is that true? Is that really true what you said? And we'll show them that that it really, it really is. If something too bad to be true, like the horrors of 9/11, then something too good to be true can be a response.
yeah, definitely. And I can definitely do that. Just send me a description of what you guys do, like we already talked about, obviously. And I'll definitely post this and do clips and everything, however I can. So
Yeah, well, and even
definitely
just
help out with that.
just share the podcast. Just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, you have an outstanding cause. Check out this guy's podcast and
Yep.
see what you think." But you can also do. People do take little clips of these shows. So like
Yeah.
sometimes a podcaster will take like a little 50-second clip and make a YouTube short or something like
Yep.
that.
Yeah, that's what I do. I post like little videos on my YouTube, whatnot. So I can definitely do that as well. And I have the links because my podcast is on different platforms. So can definitely share a link as well, and a link to your book. So yeah, most definitely.
That'll all be helpful. That'd be great.
No problem. Okay. So I'm ready to hear some music now.
All right.
Okay.
So I don't know. Have you ever heard of a documentary called "Searching for Sugar Man"?
Actually, I have not.
Okay, so this is a documentary, and because we were speaking about the music industry,
Hmm.
and I'm telling to give you an idea of how long it's been going on. This guy, I think he lived out in Detroit, and he was supposed to be the Spanish version of Bob Dylan. Okay. And they signed him to Columbia Records or whatever. And what those record labels will do back then, they would sign all the artists that were competing together. And then instead of letting them compete, they would only put one artist's music out. So the other ones are signed, but nobody can really reach them. So
Right.
in order to promote one of their other artists and not have this guy competing with the record sales, they took his records and they put them in South Africa. They put his records in South Africa, and he had no idea. And he was brokenhearted, and because nothing happened with his record, they just saw nobody bought your record, but it wasn't true. We distributed it, but they distributed it in South Africa, not in the US. So now this guy is just growing up. He has a family. He's just grown up. He's not even in the music business anymore because he just figured, well, it didn't work out. And he finds out that he's famous in South Africa from the people who grew up listening to his music, because that's where his records were. And they have what happens is they have a reunion. You know how you go to the reunion?
Right.
They all come to the reunion and they're like, remember, we used to listen to our favorite artists. We used to listen to the Beatles. We used to listen to Bob Dylan. We used to listen to Led Zeppelin. We used to listen to Sugar Man. We used to listen to, hey, what happened to that guy Sugar Man? And nobody knew. So they started a committee called Searching for Sugar Man. And they found this guy they found him on a job site, a construction site, doing construction with a nail, doing construction. And they said, hey, buddy, you didn't know you're famous? So we're not going to, and I'll leave. I'm going to play the theme. This is one of his songs. He was called Rodriguez. And you hopefully will watch the documentary after, because I'll tell you, it's one of the craziest music documentaries ever made. Okay. Then I'm going to go into an improvisation that I'm just going to make up, and I don't know what that's going to sound like. I'm just going to make it up for you. Okay. I don't know what that's going to be.
Okay, no problem. But we're going to let you have the floor. Do your thing.
Sugar Man, won't you hurry? 'Cause I'm tired of all these scenes. For a blue coin, won't you bring back all those colors to my dreams? Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers, Coke, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar Man, I met a false friend on a lonely, dusty road. I lost my heart, but when I found it, it had turned a dead black hole. Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers, Coke, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar Man, you're the answer that makes my questions disappear. Sugar Man, 'cause I'm weary of all those double games I fear. silver magic ships you carry, jumpers, coke, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar man, you're the answer that makes my questions disappear. Sugar man, you're the answer that makes my questions disappear.
Wow, that's amazing. I like that. And you
Thank
wrote
you.
that yourself, correct?
Well, yeah, I basically, I took the little song that he wrote and I kind of played my own way. So when you watch the
Yeah.
documentary, don't be surprised if it sounds quite different than what I did.
Okay.
And then, so I reharmonized it, I redid it a little bit. And then all that stuff in between, yeah, I just made it up just now. I could never repeat it. I wouldn't know what it was. In fact, I won't know what I did till I listen back to when your show comes out.
Well, we're actually live right now, so you're actually live, but I never
Cool.
would have guessed that. I never would have guessed that. Sounded like it flowed and it came together, and that's how
It
I love
did,
all.
right?
Yeah.
Sound like I sat there for years with a pen and pencil, right? But that's the magic of jazz. If you open up a certain channel, you open up kind of a spiritual channel, and you just let it flow through. And as long as you keep that channel open, who knows? It may keep flowing. I mean, that's the way it works with me. Is all I have to concentrate on making sure the channel's open so
Yep.
that it can flow. That I don't stop it with any kind of a thought or a presupposed notion or whatever they call those things.
Exactly.
I just make sure I don't mess with it. Let it flow. And maybe we should be doing that in a lot of other things, right? Letting it
Oh,
flow naturally.
I agree, and I love how you did that. I never would have guessed that. That's what I love about jazz. You hear the old school songs and music like that, and they take it and put their own finesse and flavor and what have you. So it's the same thing. Like when I write my poetry, like I make sure it flow. Sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't rhyme, but still keep going anyway, and you never guess. So it's great.
And that's what I make sure you get at a Jazz for Peace concert, because I go to a lot of concerts and I don't really hear anybody, I don't really get to hear any of that at the concert I'm going to. So, or, I try to give people something that's, inspirational, but also entertaining, but also that it has something that's just never going to be heard anywhere but that moment in time.
Right. Well, actually, that's amazing. Definitely. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so before we get out of here, tell everybody where they can find you at. Give us the website for your book once again. Any events you have coming up, whatever you have going on. And
Yes.
my show is normally called Sunday Positivity Talk. Any positive words you can give, the words of wisdom, if you don't mind, and talk to people.
Okay, so you're not going to believe this, but while we were talking, can you guys still see me? Because I have another thing open. I hope you can still see me. While we were talking, this thing just showed up on Amazon. So Paving the Path Through Peace Through Music. I'm looking at the link right now. And so this just showed up on Amazon. It's called Paving the Path for Peace Through Music, The Amazing Story of Rick Dolorata. And it's on their website right now. I mean, the author sent me this while we were having this podcast. So that's how fast things are. The wheels are spinning here at this organization. So anyway, what I'm telling you is I don't know if I have to look when we get off, camera to see what this means, but I'm assuming that it's on their website and it might actually be available within days for someone to actually get a copy of the book. And if someone's interested in being funded by Jazz for Peace, like our benefit concert series, the things that we do in the schools for kids, but also these concerts that help outstanding causes. If you just grab the Kindle version, probably is very cheap. just grab a copy of this book. You're going to, A, love the book. I promise you that, because I can vouch for that myself. And B, you're going to really get a head start on Jazz for Peace being able to help either you or another outstanding cause in your community.
All right. And where can they find you at on social media?
We're pretty much everywhere, but info@jazzforpeace.org is our email address. So you can always just send something there. And then, I think if you just Google my name, so if you can remember, one cool thing to do is go Rick Delarada famous quote, and you'll see a famous quote that's all over the internet that I said in an interview, and they just lifted it and put it on all the famous quotes pages. And if you put Jazz for Peace Rick, you should get somewhere. If you put my whole name and you put Jazz for Peace, you're off to the races. It doesn't matter if it's YouTube or it's Facebook or it's this one or it's that one. You'll see us. But definitely, just online. I mean, there's so much stuff. I don't know this stuff myself. Like I said, I find out new things. I find out new things on the internet all the time because I'm looking for one thing. I can't find what I'm looking for, but I find something else I never knew existed, like an article from Kampala, Uganda. That I found the other day. I didn't know. I didn't know there was such a thing. But I was looking for something else. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay, well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come on the Queen Mimi podcast. Definitely loved having you on. We will definitely make sure we stay in contact. Anything we can help out with and connect, in any way, shape, or form, we definitely love to do that. Thank you once again. Any last words before we close out?
I think just the last words would be keep an eye open, all of you people out in the Midwest, because Queen Mimi and Jazz for Peace, you just never know what we're going to get going here. We might be out there your way at some point.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna definitely be in contact. I think it's something I can get on board with, and hopefully be able to travel. That's one of the main things I want to do so bad. I really, really want to travel. So you never know.
My God. If you want to travel, Jazz for Peace, when you see this book, you're going to freak, because we're India. I mean, you name it, we have been there. Pakistan, Nepal. I mean, it's crazy. Copenhagen, Denmark. I mean, I could just be talking for years. So
I know.
And I think you are ready. I can tell you're ready for a journey to incorporate the rest of the world in your vibe.
I want to kind of do something like what you guys are doing, tell my story, help women and, men too. I have no problem with that. Just get out there and help people, and not to take anything away from the show, but I feel like I'm limited, and I want to get out there because I have a story to tell. I know somebody may take my music and let it help them, my story, and let it help them. So I'm ready. I already have mics. I'm getting everything together. So like when the opportunity comes, I'm not, procrastinating.
Well, I'm glad you're telling that to your listeners, because Jazz for Peace provides the way for those who have the will. And when you get to that point, you know how a turtle, he just comes out of that egg. I mean, he's not staying there any longer. He probably is in there for a while. Gee, I'd like to come out kind of. Then he gets to a point where I'm out of here.
Yep.
And that egg breaks open and he's out. When that point reaches you, that's when we can help that, take that baton and run with it. And I'm glad you're telling your listeners, because everyone has these dreams and passions inside them. And when you're ready, for example, we have an artist grant program that helps you just the way we help an outstanding cause. We would help you as an artist. We would help you to reward and thank and rejuvenate the fan base that you have, because most artists have a small fan base in your community. Maybe you've been sharing your music with just friends, but we're going to get them together. Then we're going to get them to help expand it by showing your tracks to some other people and saying, Jazz for Peace is going to come out to Chicago and do something with Queen Mimi. What do you guys think? Will you guys be on it? Will you attend? And get them involved. Now it's called the Roots of the Tree, and our motto is help us plant the roots so we can grow your empowerment tree. So when the artist helps us do that, we have their event confirmed. Once we have an event confirmed and we know Jazz for Peace is going to be there on this day to promote Queen Mimi, Queen Mimi's going to perform, blah, blah, blah. Once we have that together, Now we can get we can, you know what I mean? All the other things,
Yeah.
the venue, the publicity and awareness, the local business sponsors, all that kind of stuff. Build that tree.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're gonna be in touch. We're gonna
Okay. Looking forward to it.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I do spoken word, so I don't know if that incorporates with jazz. So,
Well, that's interesting. Jazz for Peace started out as spoken word. That poem. Remember I was telling you?
Oh yeah.
The Jazz for Peace poem. You know what? You want to hear that poem quick before we get off? Do you have
we have a few minutes, yeah.
All right. Let me just play that poem for you so you can hear it. It's spoken word, and I just play a little music underneath it.
Okay.
I hear jazz for peace coming through the trees. And in my heart it fills me like a celebration. I see the light. And I want to follow. Inspired by the past contributions of those that came before. And laid the groundwork in this universal language that is a gift for all mankind. And when we speak it, people are enlightened by the creativity and artistry that stands for peace and love and humanity. An intelligence that leads to reaching potential that we have in our soul. So we can raise our total conscience. And see that the gift of giving is our greatest privilege. I hear jazz for peace.
Wow. That was amazing. That was amazing. Seriously, I'm gonna make sure I get in contact with you. Um, One of the things that I always loved about spoken words, there's so many diverse ways to do it. I usually do it, I produce and make my own beats, but I love how you did it with the piano and it was so elegant and smooth. But you still got the message. That's why I was sitting here listening the whole entire time. That's something I want to get on board and be a part of. So that was amazing. I'm usually not speechless, but that was amazing. Like really, I'm not even just saying that. That was amazing. Good job.
Thank you so much. So let's see what happens. Maybe let's see if we can get you from where you are now to where you need to be.
Yeah, I will definitely be in contact today. And hopefully, we can sit down and chat. One day this week. I don't know what your schedule is, but I'm usually available on Wednesdays. We can get something together, and y'all, we'll see what happens, y'all.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as well. Thank you once again for coming on the show. We definitely gonna make sure we promote the book. Anything you guys have going on, like I said, gonna be in contact. You guys, Rick Delarata, go and hear more from him. Hopefully, we connect and we'll see what happens, you guys. So. Thank you so much. What we're going to do, you guys, you can go ahead and get off. We're going to go ahead and take a little break and play some of our music for you guys. And we'll be back on the Queen Mimi podcast. Thank you guys so much. Thank you again, Rick.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. And just like that, we are back on the Queen Mimi podcast on another edition of our Sunday Positivity Talk. Want to send a thank you to Rick Delarata once again. Thank you to him so much for coming on the show and gracing us with his wonderful jazz, beautiful story, and great platform that we definitely agree we need to get out here and help each other more instead of exploiting people and just using them for personal gain, which is something that we're dealing with right now, trying to get back on our feet and just pay bills and better ourselves, so on and so forth. And things are being taken away from us. And our husband right now, we just say all that to say we made a promise, and we kind of talked to Rick about that, mentioned it on the show prior. But yeah, we're ready. It's time for us to make a change. It's too much evil. It's too much going on in this world, and we need to do so much better, so much better with helping each other and not just trying to profit and exploit, because you believe in that person and they have talent, you believe they have talent, and you just want to help them. That's one of the reasons why we got into doing everything that we do, to inspire, uplift, and motivate young women. And we have a story. We're not going to sit here and doubt ourselves or anything anymore. We have a story, and we need to get out here and tell it. And that's it. That's all. And the right people will gravitate and pull to us. But we know it's not going to happen with us just sitting in the room. We talked to our husband about this. We're going to have to get out there and, connect. And we hope the right connection, whatever it may be, leads us down that path. And we definitely still gonna stand on what we believe in, who we are, what we do. But we gotta get out there. People need our help. They need us to teach them, help them, wake them up, and we gotta get out there and do it. So, with all that being said, you guys, we're gonna give you our social media where you can find us at, of course, and we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. First and foremost, y'all already know you can check us out every Sunday on our Sunday Positivity Talk with Queen Mimi on the Queen Mimi podcast. We are live every Sunday morning, 8:30 a.m., spreading positivity and motivation. You can follow us on all our platforms. Of course, y'all already know. Make sure you put this on the screen. You can follow us on our Facebook page, spelled out right there, Manima Muhammad. And currently, you can like our page on Facebook as well, the Queen Candy Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Queen Mimi Podcast, and we will make sure we subscribe back to you guys. Same flavor, you guys. Parenting, relationships, religion. We are Muslims, so yes, we talk about Islam a little bit on our show. But make sure y'all go over there, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will make sure we subscribe back. Follow us on our Instagram, the Queen Mimi Podcast, our LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter, and our TikTok page. You can follow us over there, currently under Queen Mimi. Follow us on Twitch as well, Queen Candy 85, and you can listen to replays of our show over on Clubhouse every Monday and Wednesday for our podcast and our radio show, which is Queen Mimi 77. So you guys can go over there and follow us on all those platforms as well. And also, you can check out the Queen Mimi podcast and the Queen Mimi radio show, available on all podcast streaming platforms, just to name a few: Anchor, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So go over there. Y'all can check us out as well. Also, can't forget our wonderful magazine. Thank you to Reminder Media. We promote, a few of our platforms. You can check out our bio, our husband's bio. Y'all gonna see us every show. Has wonderful articles in here. We do a new issue every other month. So y'all can go over there and check that out as well. See how many paparazzis, Mimi Bakery. Our show we do with our husband over this way. We'll talk in real topics. And of course, cannot forget our Sunday Positivity Talk, you guys. We have that right there in the front, once again, along with our bio. So you can go over to our LinkedIn, our ex formerly known as Twitter page, and our Facebook, Manima Muhammad and the Queen Candy Podcast. Click on that link and you can put in your info and you get a free copy of our magazine whenever we get a new issue. We're working on doing one for next month, so we're going to be updating some things in there as well, you guys. So keep a lookout for that as well. So yeah, that's it for this today, you guys. Thank you once again to everybody for coming to check out the Queen Mimi podcast on our Sunday Positivity Talk. We appreciate you guys so much. We're going to go ahead and play one more track for you guys, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here and pretty much enjoy the rest of our Sunday. We hope you guys do as well. Happy 420 to everybody. We know that was yesterday, but that's all fine and good. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. Y'all chill. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. And we'll talk to you guys Tuesday. Where we at? On the Queen Mimi radio show, you guys. That will be live each and every Tuesday evening, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, you guys. 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we'll be back on here live again, talking to you guys. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and we'll see you Tuesday. Have a good one.